Assalamu alaikum. As I said in the last video, I'm giving you a heads up because we are approaching a great event, a miracle, which is the Israa and Miraaj, coming this Thursday, inshallah, 2016. So, in this heads up, I'm putting some basic rules. What Allah wishes us, how Allah wishes us to follow every topic, every discussion. So let's continue and put more rules so that we will not be misled. We will not be afraid because we heard from somebody else something different, and now we are listening to something different. So no confusion. Put those rules first. This is the heads up for the discussion before we enter into the discussion, because this discussion we have messed up so bad. So let's go to Surah 30, Ayah 58. Surah Ar-Rum 58. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولقد ضربنا للناس في هذا القرآن من كل مثل ولئن جئتهم بآية ليقولن الذين كفروا إن أنتم إلا مبطلون. Okay, I need the first part of the ayah. Now some of you will wonder, did Allah mention Isra and Miraaj in the Quran? Like they wonder about the rak'ah in the prayer. We explained the rak'ah in the prayer. How about Isra and Miraaj? Is it in the Quran? Well, let's see the answer. What Allah says, وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ. We gave the people in this Quran from every example. Full stop. No need to discuss this. Finished. Allah has the final word. Yes, He did. He gave us from every example. He's not going to skip over a great event like this without mentioning. It's a miracle. Miracle. Why Allah should skip over one of the miracles He performed? So yes, Allah gave us the example of Isra and Miraaj, and this is what we're going to discuss with the other discussion about the other Isra and Miraaj that we invented. We Muslim invented. Okay, let's go to Surah 39, Ayah 27. It says, وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَذَكَّرُونَ. We gave the people in this Quran from every example. May they reflect. May they remember. Remember. And in another ayah, I did not write here, it says, وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ أَكْثَرَ شَيْءٍ جَدَلًا. We gave all the people in this Quran from every example, but people love to waste time in wasteless arguments. So much they wish to argue. They wish to argue. They don't want to wish to listen except to their own voice, which is a very sad state. We are becoming worse than the kafir. Christian, Jews, Hindu, Buddhist, we are becoming worse. Unwilling to listen, except to our own voices or to our own imams, what they taught us since childhood, even if they don't know anything. I'm not talking about all of them, but they are in a vast majority. I'm so sad to say. Because they deviated from the Quran so bad. They take care of other books, as if those other books are from Allah as well. Okay. So, yes, we love to argue and debate, especially if we bring an ayah. We are supposed to be quiet and listen. We're never quiet. We are unwilling to listen what Allah says. If it contradicts what we have been taught from other books, as if those other books are better than Allah and His Quran. Very well, let's go to Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2 again, Ayah 170. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ. And if we come to some Muslims, and this is a very sad situation today with the vast majority of the Muslim, the vast majority, almost 90% of the Muslims, this is how sad it is. If we tell them, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ, follow what Allah said. Follow what Allah said. But their brains are so full with nonsense from other stuff, from other books, that Allah has nothing to do with, or His Rasul, alayhi salatu wasalam. Man-made stuff. And if we tell them, come, follow what Allah says, قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا. They will say, no. We will follow only what we found our fathers and what our teachers and what our imams told us. ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا, what we found our fathers on. This is what was before us. And now we are here in this life. We are going to follow the same. We are telling them, come to follow what Allah says. Allah answers and says, أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ, even if their fathers, their parents, their ancestors, their teachers, their scholars, their imams, لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ, they know nothing, they have no guidance of whatsoever, they cannot guide themselves even. Even you still insist on following that instead of following what Allah sent? It started with وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ. Follow what Allah sent. We are not asking you to follow other beliefs, but you are asking us to follow other beliefs, other books Allah has nothing to do with, and will not question us about them. Allah will question us about this Quran. Very well. Let's go to Surah 22, Ayah 46. We are putting basic rules for this upcoming discussion about Israa and Miraaj. أَفَلَمْ يَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ التي في الصدور. Now, let me not translate all of it, but let me focus on something. Allah says, فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوب يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا أَوْ آذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Wouldn't they have hearts to comprehend, to understand? Allah says, this is aql. This is aql in Arabic, brain. But Allah says that you have a better brain, much better, greater brain in your heart. In your heart is a greater brain. Allah says, فَتَكُونَ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ يَعْقِلُونَ بِهَا, that they may have hearts that they comprehend, act like better brain, understand. وَآذَانٌ يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا, and ears that they can hear. Allah says about some, لَهُمْ آذَانٌ لَا يَسْمَعُونَ, they have ears, they do not understand, they do not hear. قُلُوب لَا يَفْقَهُونَ, they have hearts but they do not understand. هُمْ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ أَضَلُّوا سَبِيلًا, they are like animals, dumb animals, not normal animal, the intelligent, no, the dumb animals, even worse. Very well. Now, here's another rule, basic rule, it's very important as well. It's Surah 4, Ayah 82. All this is a heads up, introduction to the discussion of the great miracle of Israa and Miraaj. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ, wouldn't they reflect over the Quran? Meaning, in every issue that you have, in every discussion, come to the Quran first. Look in the Quran and let the Quran judge. Where is the truth? Because Muhammad ﷺ said in a hadith found in Muslim and Bukhari, he said, "Inna afdal al-hadith kitabullah." The best hadith is the book of Allah. So come first and reflect over what Allah says in the Quran. And Allah made a condition to show the honesty of this book. وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عَنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. And if it was not from Allah, they will find in it a lot of contradictions. Therefore, what is the message at this time? If those stories about Israa and Miraaj have a lot of differences, contradictions, then it is not from Allah. وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عَنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ. And if it wasn't from Allah, they will find in it a lot of contradiction. Therefore, those of us who lie and say that those books that they resort to and read, and they say this is from Allah, but those find a lot of contradictions in them, then they are liars. Those are not from Allah, according to what Allah says. وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عَنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. If it is not from Allah, then you will find a lot of contradictions in them. And those books have a lot of contradictions. This is an indication, a clear clarification from Allah direct. Those books are not from Allah, they are man-made. Now, Surah 47, Ayah 24, it says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالِهَا. Wouldn't they reflect over the Quran, or their hearts have locks on them? I recently had a WhatsApp group, and I'm supposed to have scholars, you understand? Scholars with me, members of this group. They love to debate and discuss everything, every other book. But when you say, come to the Quran, they disappeared. And the group was soon after closed completely. They don't wish to understand anything. They don't want to discuss Quran. While Allah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Wouldn't they reflect over the Quran? Allah did not order you to make tadabbur, to make reflections over any other book. The choice is yours about those other books. Whatever books they are. It's your choice, not Allah's choice. The only thing that Allah orders you to reflect over is the noble Quran. It says, the ayah says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالِهَا. Or their hearts are sealed with locks on them. Nothing can open them. Hopeless. The only book that Allah orders you to reflect over is the Quran. But you choose to reflect over every other book and say it is from Allah. No, it isn't. Allah has nothing to do with it. Or His Rasul, if you wish. Very well. Now, this ayah, I'm going to read it quickly, but go focusing on the part that I want to focus on, to relay a message. Surah 17, Al-Isra, Ayah 46. It says, وَجَعَلْنَا عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ أَكِنَّةً أَنْ يَفْقَهُوهُ وَفِي آذَانِهِمْ وَقْرًا وَإِذَا ذَكَرْتَ رَبَّكَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ وَحْدَهُ وَلَّوْا عَلَى أَدْبَارِهِمْ نُفُورًا. Very dangerous message here, and we are, in our vast majority among the Muslims today, are doing this. Allah says, we have placed on their hearts covering that will cover their hearts. Their hearts will not accept anything or will understand anything. أن يفقهوا وفي آذانهم وقرا, and blockade on their ears. They don't want to listen. Now, this is the part, the message that I want to relay. Please, listen carefully. Pay attention. وَإِذَا ذَكَرْتَ رَبَّكَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ وَحْدَهُ. And if you wish, and you mention to them, this is your crime. This is a major crime for the majority, the vast majority of Muslims. This is a very bad crime in their hearts and their sight and in their brains. وَإِذَا ذَكَرْتَ رَبَّكَ فِي الْقُرْآنِ وَحْدَهُ. And if you wish to use Quran only to mention Allah and Islam, what they will do? وَلَّوْا عَلَى أَدْبَارِهِمْ نُفُورًا. They turn and they run like devils. Like the devil. This is the action of the devil, shaitan. Haven't you heard in the hadith, in Muslim and Bukhari, how the house that have recitation of Quran, the devil will not enter it? Because shaitan runs from the recitation of the Quran. Allah says, if you wish to mention Allah using Quran only, they will turn and run away. Exactly like shaitan, like the devil. This is the situation of the vast majority of the Muslims today. They are unwilling to listen to you if you mention Allah using Quran only. Other books sometimes are good, but not all the time. But Quran is good always. Always. But they prefer that you talk about other books, not the Quran. When you come to the Quran, and if the Quran contradicts one of the brothers, beloved brothers, that, we came to Sirat al-Mustaqim, and he think that this is a blade-like path that people, walk on bleeding and falling down. Right hand is Jannah, paradise, left hand is hell. And when I said no, Allah says, different in the Quran, I didn't see him again. He disappeared completely. Because, I said, let's mention this, using Quran only. ذكرت ربك في القرآن وحده. Let's mention this, using Quran only. No. This is the sad state we are in. We need to come back to the Quran, please. Please come back to the Quran. You will be questioned about those noble words that Allah sent. Allah did not send you any other book. None of the other books is from Allah. You will be questioned about this book. None of the others. But you keep cherishing and sacreding the other books more than the Quran. Very well. You know something? Allah says in Surah 59, Ayah 21, He says, لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل. If we brought this Quran to a mountain, we assigned this Quran to a mountain. Yes, mountains speak, mountain breathe. Every creation breathe and speak, but we do not understand. They're talking. The mountains were making tasbih with Dawood. Go to the Noble Quran and read it. So Allah says, if we assigned this Quran, He assigned it to us. But He says, if He assigned it to the mountain, what will happen to the mountain? لَرَأَيْتَهُ خَاشِعًا مُتَصَدِّعًا مِنْ خَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ. You will find it cracking, about to collapse, in fear, and in worship, and in obedience, in following this Quran. While we have hearts like solid rocks, not like solid rocks, even the rocks, are soft if we assign Quran to it. But there is no word to explain your hearts today, why you are in such a state. Please come back to the Quran. وَتِلْكَ الْأَمْثَالِ نَضْرِبُهَا لِلنَّاسِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And those are the examples we give to the people. May they start using their hearts and brains. Allah says in Surah Al-Hadid, Surah 57, Ayah 16, ألم يأن للذين آمنوا أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله وما نزل من الحق ولا يكونوا كالذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبل فطال عليهم الأمد فقست قلوبهم وكثير منهم فاسقون. Isn't it time for those who say we are believers, mu'min, to have fear, to subdue themselves to when we mention Allah, dhikr of Allah. When we say Allah, your eyes should have tears in them, not to turn away like shaitan and go and run. You don't want to listen. وَمَا أَنزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ, and what justice He gave us, what honesty, the utmost honest book under the heaven today. No other book is good except the Quran today under the heaven. وَلَا يَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ, and not to be like those who were given the book before. Ahlul Kitab, they were given the book before. فَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدُ, and after a long time, فَقَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُم, their hearts got tough, stiff. وَكَثِيرٌ مِّنْهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ, and the vast majority among them are fasiq, like the vast majority of the Muslims today are fasiq. They deviated from the noble Quran. They do not understand the orders of Allah, and they do not wish. This is the worst. Because you may not understand, but if you find someone taking your hand and say, come, let me show you, let me translate, let me share it with you, and you give him your hand, then that's okay. Not knowing is not a crime. But not wishing to know, that's the crime that leads to hell. Very well. Now, in many ayahs, Allah says there is no changing to the words of Allah, but this is a different debate. So let's not, spend any more time, and the video is big enough at this point. My brothers and sisters, we still have the Quran intact. Bring it down from the highest shelf in your house. Unfold it. Take all the wraps, all the good clothes, the clean clothes. You think this is protection, preserving the book. No, you have to preserve the book in here, in your heart, in your brain. Not in clothes. None of the material will preserve it, like your heart and the brain. Take my hand. I am coming with you with open heart, open arms, with the love of the world, with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm trying to explain the Quran to you. 1400 years. It's a long time. You left this Quran and not coming to understand what Allah says. Why? You want to continue this state? Why not remove yourself from this? Don't you want the blessing of Allah? Don't you want the Jannah, paradise, in the hereafter? Don't you want Allah to love you? You have to love Allah so that He will start loving you back. And loving Allah starts by giving me your hand. Let us walk together, studying the Quran together, understanding the Quran together. You and I need to understand it. Encourage me. Take my hand. Company, loves, it's good to have company when we walk toward a good target, objective. What is more important than Allah and His wonderful word, blessed words? Come, join me. Take my hand. Accept my invitation. Let me take you to the wonderful world of Allah and Quran. Please, don't waste time. Don't waste this chance. Don't turn back. turn your back to the words of Allah, because you have been fed since childhood with nonsense. If you are not fed with the noble Quran since childhood, then you are fed with nonsense. Will you come? Will you join me to the wonderful world of Allah and the noble Quran and the message of your Imam and Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, who said, بلغوا عني ولو آية, relay on my behalf even one verse, one ayah. Come, let us learn together. Then it will become your duty to relay to others, inshallah. You will become the best alim, better than all the alims that we have today, inshallah. If you come to the Quran, this is the best alim. Thank you so much for watching. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وأن آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Till next time, السلام عليكم.